Well, good afternoon. The Audible presented by Aquafina is on the air. Kim Bokamper, Andy Cohen with us. I always want to say AC in the morning because that's my mentality, but it's AC in the AM. 6
Kinda
o'clock,
has a little
bright and
jingle
early.
to it, that's all.
Yeah, got a little something, got a little sizzle to it, right? So as the business is, a little sizzle to it. But anyway, you're watching the Audible, you're watching on Periscope. You can go ahead and send your questions in. Just hashtag the Audible through Twitter, and we'll go ahead and answer your questions throughout the program. You can also see us on a rebroadcast beginning tomorrow on the Miami Dolphins Facebook page, and you can always see us on MiamiDolphins.com. So a lot of ways to see this this show, and a lot of ways to get in, and only one way actually to get in and ask your questions. Just hashtag the Audible through Twitter. And Andy, we're in foreign territory, my friend.
Uncharted
territory. And you know what's funny? I was just talking to some of the guys in the back, and the last time the Dolphins were in the playoffs, 2008. And I see a lot of the writers talking about it being a fraudulent trip to the playoffs, which I find it hard to believe. You win 11 games,
right.
You go to the playoffs. I don't care how you did it.
I don't care either.
I don't understand I don't understand their mentality of saying, "Oh, that was a fraudulent trip to the." Now they didn't do anything the next year. They didn't do anything the year before. But hell, they won 11 games, got to the playoffs, and to me, that's I don't know.
That was the year Chad Pennington fell in their lap in August.
Chad Pennington fell in their lap, and then they came out with the Wildcat, which everyone goes, "Oh, the Wildcat." Well, it worked for them.
It worked.
You know,
they killed New England up there.
No doubt. They're a team that they got hammered for the first 2 games. They're flying back trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do.
Right.
From Arizona, where they just got demolished in Arizona. They come up with a Wildcat, go to New England the next week, shock New England, light them up, and then for a few games, really worked well for them. And then people kind of caught up with it. But look, I mean, it's a game of however you get the job done, man.
And whatever the schedule says you play, and this is really a remarkable story though for this team when you look at how much they've overcome, when you look at how they've disguised and made up for their flaws, because they have some significant flaws, but they're able to overcome that, and that's really a credit to Adam Gase and his coaching staff, and the fact that they can keep building and winning games despite all the obstacles they faced.
You know, it's funny. It's one thing I look at this team, Andy, and you watch them from where they started up in Seattle and this whole road they've been on and all the injuries they've gone through and the players that have to step up. And the one thing that really gets me, and to me it is a testament to the assistant coaches, in my mind, the number of players that have had to step in and fill a role. And not only did they fill the role, they got better as the season went on.
Yeah.
Tony Lippett, you can't argue that he hasn't gotten better each and every game he played. Byron Maxwell, who was benched at one point, has gotten better as the season went on. You look at Neville Hewitt, Spencer Pasinger, they've played better the more they've played. So guys have stepped in, and offensive line. Mike Hull did a good job.
Right.
Urbeck has done a good job. Steen for a while until he kind of got over his head was doing a pretty good job. So guys have stepped in and improved and gotten better along the way. And I don't know that I've ever seen that out of a football team in this situation.
Yeah, I thought at the time that the loss of Rashad Jones against Pittsburgh would be just impossible to make up for. And I still see signs every game, whether it's the rushing defense, whether it's a long pass, where Rashad Jones would have made a difference. But the fact that they've overcome, the quarterback of their defense in many ways is remarkable. Yeah. It really is.
In what 9 of 10 games? I mean, that again.
Who needs Rashad Jones?
Who needs?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It just really is.
Boy.
And, but yeah, it's been one of those years now, but it's not over. I mean, as much as I know you've done it, I know everyone else out here has done it, and tried to prod Adam Gase into saying something about, hey, it's great to be in the playoffs.
You can't do it.
And this guy won't. I mean, it's like trying to move the Rock of Gibraltar with this guy,
He worked under Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And he's, let him be as successful as Nick Saban.
No,
and I'll
absolutely
be happy.
no.
But no, he's not going to change his mindset.
No.
It's just what he's about. And next week at this time, he's not going
saying the same.
He's not going to look back at the great achievement of the regular season. Yeah. He's going to be focused on one game and one game only.
Well, he's doing what every good coach does. I'll talk about the way the season went when the season's over.
Sure.
And while the season's going on, and it's next game up. And that's all I've got going on in my mind right now.
They had a pretty good coach here for a long time that had the same philosophy.
Yep.
And Don Shula won a lot of games that way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I remember back then, I mean, you remember what it was like, Andy. You go from the 77 when he came here, 70s on. It was like you won the AFC Championship. I mean, the AFC East is every year. It seemed like
Right.
Now they give away hats and T-shirts if you win the AFC. You win the AFC East, you get a whole new wardrobe. We won the AFC East. You know what we got? Chewed out because we didn't play good enough the game before that got us to win the AFC East.
You've done nothing yet, Bo, right?
You guys haven't done anything. Right. You don't deserve T-shirts. You don't deserve hats.
I don't give out participation trophies here.
That's right, no doubt. Hey, you are watching the Audible presented by Aquafina. Kim Bokamper, Andy Cohen with you. You can go ahead and send your questions in. If you're watching on Periscope, send them in via Twitter. Just hashtag the Audible. You can watch this on a rebroadcast of the Miami Dolphins Facebook page beginning tomorrow, and you can always see us on MiamiDolphins.com. Buffalo, you got the New England Patriots coming in, Andy. Two football teams that I think are going to go, the Dolphins and the Patriots, I think they're both going to go out and play to win. New England obviously remembers bitterly losing to the Dolphins in the last game last year.
3 years in a row, Bo.
Then getting knocked out in the AFC Championship game because they had to go to Denver rather than playing at home. Had they won that last game. And I got to think with Bill Belichick and everyone in that football team that was there, that's first and foremost in their mind going into this football game right now.
Yeah, you're going to see New England's A game on Sunday. There's no doubt about it. He's not going to hold anything back. You're going to see Brady the entire way.
Yep.
They want to win this game. There's an urgency factor. They understand what happened last year. They also understand what's happened playing the Dolphins on the road for the last 3 years. No, it's going to be a very, very difficult challenge for the Dolphins. As well as they have played in a lot of these wins, they really have to sustain it for a longer time.
And this is, you look at New England. You look at New England. You think about that offense. You think about Tom Brady. You think how efficient they are. You think about Julian Edelman, LeGarrette Blount, what they do. But defensively, this football team, they've had 12 takeaways in the last 5 games. They're plus 10 in the takeaway giveaway department. The Dolphins are plus 4. So, they're going to have their hands full on both sides of the football against this New England team. And the Dolphins may have to play their very best game if they're going to come away with a win in this one.
It's remarkable. The New England defense, the names change, the numbers change, but it's like the same team every year. I'm talking to Deion Sims about that today, and he says, they disguise their coverages. They don't make – they're consistently the same year in and year out. It really is amazing how they play defense.
It's amazing to me when I watch them. They're so fundamentally sound. They put themselves always in position where they've got the advantage somehow. Right. I remember I was watching the Dolphin game, the first game up there, and I remember, one of their receivers lines up in the slot, or it was a back lines up in the slot, linebacker, our guy lines up in the slot, backer comes out, and a linebacker takes a hard inside position on him. I'm not going to give you this side of the field. I'm going to work you from this side of the field out, and then we'll go that way. Then similar later on in the game, I see them do the same thing. They bring a guy out in the slot. Our guy lines head up on him. It's giving him a two-way go. That's the difference between what New England does and what most teams do. They put themselves in position to give themselves the best advantage to be successful in everything they do. And I don't care if it's the starter, the backup, or a guy that's only been there for a week. When they come out, they're schooled to play the right way.
Another example of that is I saw some of the worst tackling by the Buffalo Bills that I've seen in a long time last weekend. They were, grabbing, and you don't see that with New England.
Right.
They're technique oriented.
Yep.
They gang tackle. It's just a different look, a different feel with that defense.
Hey, we'd like to welcome Aquafina on as our presenting sponsor.
All right.
How about that, huh?
All right,
Been drinking
Aquafina.
their water here for a long time, so it's nice to have them on board with us for the program. Let's go ahead and get some questions. Philip A. Hernandez, what's our injury report look like? Well, Isa Abdul-Quddus was put on injury reserve. He's done for the season. A neck injury up there in Buffalo. And look at this, Trey, right there. Look at this, right off the press.
Who is this? Off the street?
This is Trey, right there.
All right,
Wave
Trey.
your fans out there, Trey. Show them that hairline. Show them that hairline a little bit. Tell them you got it touched up a little. All right, so here's it. Jay Ajayi was limited, had that shoulder that he hurt late in the game but still came back and played.
He says he'll be fine. I spoke to him today.
Not going to be comfortable, but I'm sure he'll be fine. Those that didn't practice today, Jelani Jenkins with the knee, Byron Maxwell, Spencer Paysinger, obviously Ryan Tannehill, Mario Williams was in full. But the big news is Caduce on injury reserve. He's out. That means Michael Thomas and Walt Aikens will have to step in and get some
Michael Thomas plays on every special team. He's special teams captain. Now he's going to play every snap on defense. This is another example of them calling on their depth.
May have played his best game last week up in Buffalo. Michael Thomas.
Yeah, he did. He's a great guy. He's the type of person you really root for. But he's going to have his hands full this week.
No doubt.
How about Bobby McCain in the slot? He's going to have his hands full with Edelman this week.
I mean, look, Julian Edelman. Where's he at? Edelman's at 90 catches.
Is that all?
955 yards, yeah. Wow. Only 2 touchdowns, though. LeGarrette Blount made up for it. He's got 17 touchdowns.
Ooh, Edelman's yards after catch is probably enormous.
Look, and you can go back to Wes Welker, Danny Woodhead.
Same player.
Same guys. Same guys, and they do the same exact thing.
Play. I think Belichick understands what type of player he wants.
Yeah. They've all got the same mentality. I remember when Wes Welker went up there. And the first time Brady worked out with him, he says, man, this guy's great. It's like having a dog. You throw it, he catches everything, brings it right back to you, wags his tail and ready to go and do it again. And you throw it, and they catch everything you come to them. So here's the New England Patriots participation today at practice. Danny Amendola didn't practice. He's got an ankle injury. Martellus Bennett was limited. He's got an ankle. Brady didn't practice. No big deal.
They'll all play.
To Hightower, Cyrus Jones, limited. They'll play. Deion Lewis, Malcolm Mitchell didn't practice. And that's it. Matthew Slater, wide receiver, limited.
In other words, they're healthy.
It's for both teams, if you're healthy, it's all hands on deck for this game. I don't think there's any difference between the Dolphins and New England, what they do there. So anyway, that kind of gets you updated on the injury situation. That's Sir Daniel Alex 1. Should Jimmy Johnson be considered a Hall of Famer? He's up for Hall of Fame this year, right?
He is. He is.
In the final ballot.
And certainly you win back-to-back Super Bowls. Yep. That's very, very impressive on your resume. Certainly he didn't finish the career here the way he wanted to. But he should be considered.
I think so. I think Jimmy Johnson should.
Is he a lock? Probably not, but he should definitely be considered.
But I would think at some point Jimmy Johnson gets in.
Yeah.
And look, I think he's deserving. Job he did in Dallas by taking that program that really, first of all, you had to come in and you had to follow up Tom Landry, one of the legendary coaches in the National Football League. Then you had to take that program and turn it around. They did it with the trade with Herschel Walker up in Minnesota. Was it Mike Lynn that made that trade?
Mike Lynn.
Yeah, we don't hear from him anymore.
No, we don't.
Hear from Jimmy Johnson still.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, I think so. And I know you don't add the college, what he did in college, into that thing, but certainly his pedigree is that of a Hall of Famer. I put it that way. At Pablo G Radio, is Moore still under contract next year? I don't know. Is he a one-to-one?
I think he signed a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
I think was one of the swaying points for him to come back, that they locked him for 2 years. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I believe.
I think you're right. I do agree with that. At T. Lubin 6, should Tannehill come back for the playoffs or shut it down for the rest of the season? I was having this conversation in there with the guys in the back before we came in the program, and the question was, hey, if the Dolphins were to get into the AFC Championship game and the doctors say that Tannehill's ready to play, do you pull the trigger on Ryan Tannehill, allow him to play in that game, or do you just say, hey, look, I'm not going to take a chance on his future. We're going to go with
well, a lot depends on specifically what the doctors say. If they say he's 100%, that there's no risk
of tearing
of aggravating it, that if something happens, it's mutually exclusive to this, then I play him. He's your quarterback. He had 9 touchdown passes and 1 pick in the 6-game winning streak. I mean, Matt Moore's done a lot of nice things. Ryan Tannehill is the quarterback of this team. If he's 100%, he should be on the field.
The only thing that would keep me from playing Ryan Tannehill in that situation, if there's a chance that he could injure that same knee,
right?
If it's not to the point where it's not stable enough, or we can put a brace on it. But what I don't want Ryan Tannehill to do is come back, re-injure that knee to the point where he needs to now go in and have ACL surgery
and turn his offseason into a nightmare.
And look, and there is no guarantee that he's going to be ready to play.
There's not
at the level he played this year, next year. That's my concern with Ryan Tannehill.
I share the same concern. We don't know the severity, the exact severity of the injury he has. If it's a 2 or 3 week injury and he can come back 100%, but I don't want a minor limp. I don't want a guy who's gutting it out.
You've been around this team a long time. When have you seen a knee be a 2 to 3 week? Usually they're 4 to 6 week injuries.
Usually are
at best.
Now with like a minor scope.
Well, if you're going for a scope and get a little chunk of cartilage taken out, maybe 3 weeks you're fine.
But sprained ligaments, it's usually a month.
Yeah. Look, I tell you this. There's a belief, and I believe this because I had it myself. I'd rather break my ankle than sprain my ankle badly, because a break heals faster than a sprain. Once that bone is healed, you're good to go. Sprain is you got stretched ligaments. You got those got to heal up. Are you
talking from experience?
I did. I broke my fibula. I played in 4 weeks later.
Wow.
And
you've had sprained ankles.
I've had plenty of sprained ankles. Yeah, they were no fun. Believe me. At Flynn-Burn 1, how cool is it for Don Shula that his old team is back in good hands and playoff bound? There's a lot of happy people around South Florida. There's a lot of Dolphin fans that are kind of getting back on board, and I'm happy for that. That are happy about this football team right now. I think the community is really look. I can tell from my business. I've talked to our general managers over the last couple of days, and fans have been coming back. I mean, the coming out, watching the games. Crowds have been around there. So people are coming back to this football team. Everybody's happy about it. And I guarantee
I'm sure the Don of Shula.
I'm sure he's extremely happy, extremely proud.
And extremely impressed with Adam Gase.
And very impressed with Adam Gase, yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know this man is 96 years old, and he called me the other day and said, Andy, I never thought I'd live to see this day again. Yeah. And a lot of people around South Florida feel that way. Doubt.
Well, go to the other side of it. There's a generation of kids that have never seen this football team.
Not one time.
Kids are 11, 12, 13 years old. They saw 2008 maybe, but they've never seen anything like this.
My two sons are 86 and 89 children. Yeah. 1986 and 89. They haven't seen the glory years.
Right.
I mean, they don't know what it's like.
So, it really is. And the thing to me, Andy, that makes it special is that it's not a fluke. It's not – this is a philosophical change with the organization that's turning into success on the field. That's not a Band-Aid.
No,
this is a legitimate.
This is going to take hold.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
You're going to see consistency.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of what they're doing. There's no feel. I have a column tomorrow morning. 7 players from the last 2 drafts. I'm counting Bobby McCain. Started against Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm counting Bobby McCain because he's in the nickel.
Yeah.
That's almost a third of the starting lineup from the last 2 drafts. That's the nucleus of this team. That's what they're building here.
And when you look at the teams that have been successful for the long haul in this league, that's how they've built it. They've built it on draft choices, not going out and chasing the big free agents every year, not going out and doing that thing. So that's.
They could have a great example of that in their first round playoff match by playing in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
There's a team that every single year.
Same way. That's how they've done it.
Right.
Yep. Hey, we're watching the Audible presented by Aquafina. Kim Bokamper, Andy Cohen with you. You can go ahead and send your questions in if you're watching on Periscope. All you need to do is hashtag the Audible at Scooby Fins Up. If Matt Moore makes it to the Super Bowl, would he earn the starting position next year? Boy, it doesn't take long, does it? It doesn't take long.
Where is Earl Morrall where we need
exactly.
him?
No.
I don't think so. It'd be a great story,
Bo. I don't care what Matt Moore does between now and the time the season ends.
This isn't to diminish Matt Moore at all.
This is Ryan Tannehill. No, this is nothing to diminish Matt Moore. In Adam Gase's mind, this is Ryan Tannehill's football team. As long as he's here, as long as Adam's here, and Ryan's played this level, he may be the biggest Ryan Tannehill supporter in this town. Adam Gase.
Yeah, maybe. And if Matt Moore takes him to the Super Bowl and wins it, it'll be one of the great pro football stories of all time. It just won't change the pecking order.
Not going to change it all. No. Matt Moore come back next year. When they start start training camp, he'll be standing number 2 behind Ryan Tannehill
with a ring on his finger.
There is no question and no doubt in my mind about that.
Me too.
At Kylish, if Michael Thomas is used at safety, what will we do to shore up our special teams? Well, he's going to have to put on his big boy shoes, big boy underwear, because he's going to play a lot of plays.
Get those liquids in him early.
Get him in. Start hydrating right now, because you're going to play a lot of plays, Michael Thomas. No doubt about that. Now, I would expect Walt Aiken to get a little participation there, but Michael Thomas is going to get the bulk of it, and he's not going to I don't think he's going to relinquish any of his special teams duties.
No, and when you look at special teams, if the next guy up to Michael Thomas is significantly below Michael Thomas,
it's not going to happen.
You got to keep Michael Thomas on the field.
About it. He's a young kid.
Sure,
let him go. And I got Game New Jersey. Bo, they say Kiko is not playing this week. Do you know why? I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that. I saw Kiko today. Looked great.
Yeah, I talked to Kiko after the game. He was fine. That's maybe you know something. In New Jersey.
Who is they?
That well they's that they
right.
They're out
they's
there.
The unknown commodity.
They're that they's the guy that lives next door and go, hey, guess what I heard?
Right, he's they.
Kiko Alonso's not playing this week.
He's they. The gardener.
Yes, exactly. At Irvin 1489, do you think Gaze will rest Ajayi some? I don't think so.
No, I'm not sure he's going to carry it 32 times.
No, but it depends on what's happened. Depends on what happens as the game goes on. I mean, certainly, look, something happens and you get ahead by X amount or whatever. Yeah, then I think you give him a little break. But
or if he tweaks something, sit him down.
Problem with Ajayi, and it's not a problem.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing with Ajayi is that some of his best runs
are in the fourth quarter.
I know where you're going. Up in Buffalo,
no doubt about it.
Late in the football game,
you want him in there in the fourth quarter.
Battered that defensive line. When you got to stick your head in there, and he's been sticking your head in there all day long, and you know it's going to hurt, and he's run through it in the fourth quarter, and you go, maybe I can just throw that arm out there and get him down.
No chance.
No chance. But
it isn't his first carry, Bo. It's his last carry.
Exactly. No doubt about it. At Soundman 1024, can we get Trey as a guest? Trey's made 2 appearances here, and he's become quite a hit.
Oh, good.
Become quite a hit. Came in here one day, bent over, and he was showing his backside to the camera. So I think we had a lot of women call in and say, a little soft, a little mushy for me, but doesn't look bad on camera. Trey as a guest. We'll see if we can get Trey as a guest. We'll see what we can do with him. Superfins 2335. What do you think of only playing the starting lineup until halftime? Not going to happen.
Nope.
Not going to happen. This is...
Hey, San Diego can beat Kansas City. They can end up playing Houston. Yep. There's a lot of variables going on this week.
All I know is talking to Adam Gaze, Sunday night, Christmas night, Denver loses. He's on the phone to Stephen Ross. He's on the phone to Chris Greer. He's on the phone to Mike Tannenbaum. And they're deciding what they're going to do. And when he hung up their phone, the decision was, we're going to go play to win this game.
No doubt about it.
And I like that decision.
And you would expect nothing less.
I wouldn't expect anything less than that, no doubt about it. And look, I don't expect anything less out of New England either, coming in with that mindset.
Oh, yeah. They want to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got something to play for. They've got something to accomplish, and they're going to come out and try to get the job done. At Tanner Schnee. Is that Schnee? It is. What do the Dolphins have to do not to end up like the Jets this year after having a 10-win season? Well, you don't hire Todd Bowles. You don't have Rex Ryan. You don't do those things. I think the way that the Dolphins don't end up doing that is just by following the path that they've set out for this football team under Adam Gaze, under Vance Joseph, under these assistant coaches, and also along with the leadership in this football team, Andy. I think there are guys in here like Brandon Albert, Ndamukong Suh, Cam Wake, guys, by putting Matt Moore in that mix, guys that have really helped this team become the team they are with the type of leadership they've had. They've been around losing. They're tired of it, and they're trying to turn things around. So
also, the Jets are a mess at quarterback right now.
Yes.
And that's the most important position on the team,
Yep.
And the Dolphins are clearly not a mess at quarterback.
No doubt about that. 38 Double D Lover. Bo, do you think that we should go all out in this game to keep our edge? I think we've been talking about that throughout the program. Yes, Mr. Double D Lover, I do believe we should go out to keep this game and to keep the edge. I agree. I agree. I've always been one of those that believe that, you turn the switch off.
Stay on a roll.
And you risk the chance of turning that switch on and the light bulb not coming back on.
You're right, Bo.
And that's a difficult – teams that do that, I always very concerned about that. At New Jersey Dolphin, how nice is this offensive side of the ball? We're young on that side. This is a young football team, Andy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You have some guys with some mileage on them, no question about that. Cam Wake, Brandon Albert, some of these guys. But you look at a lot of these guys. Sue's still a young guy. He's still got a lot of football left.
Look at the 3 receivers on offense.
Look at the 3 receivers. Look at Andre Branch, who they bring over from Jacksonville. Kiko Alonso, not an old guy.
Xavier Howard, Tony Lippett.
Xavier Howard. Look at all your running backs.
Right.
Jay Ajayi. Look at those three.
Kenyon Drake.
Look at Ajayi, Kenyon Drake.
You're there. I can't believe Ajayi is 23 years
I
old.
know. This is
amazing.
a young football team that, this reminds me of the teams, Andy, that you used to watch that would come around. And I'm not, much like, I came in at the end of the 72 when that 72 team, they were just, they were the guys were starting to retire. Guys were going out of the league. We came in, and all of a sudden, they draft myself and Larry Gordon. Duriel Harris was in that draft. The next year, you draft A.J. Dewey, Baumhauer.
Great draft.
They come in, and then you get Dwight Stevenson and Don McNeil and Tony Nathan and those guys. And all of a sudden, you've got a team that's ready to roll. And hopefully that's where this football team is. With the drafts they had in 2015, with this draft this year, if they do it next year, they build that nucleus. So then you just pluck the little pieces that you need to fill in. And I think we're in that direction. I really do.
You clearly see it happening. You look at the depth chart, you look at the roster, and you see the method behind it.
Most impressive, and you hit the nail on the head, is that young receiving core. And boy, you just wonder how now the guy they need to get signed is Kenny Stills. Mm-hmm. Kenny Stills. I think to me, two guys they need to sign: Kenny Stills, Andre Branch. Two guys I think you can't let go in free agency.
And Adam Gase loves both players,
yes.
And I have a feeling he's going to have a say in who they resign or not.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. I think he's going to have a big say-so in what goes on, not only with who he signs, but who he decides to get rid of.
Definitely.
He's been evaluating this football team.
He's taking notes, checking them twice.
Taking notes and checking them twice. And if you're not a good boy, you can go play somewhere else and be my guest.
Right.
Just ask Dallas Thomas and Billy Turner.
Yep.
And tell them to see how that works out. Bo, do you think Twitter question? Bo, do you think Gase could be the guy to turn this around?
He has, yes.
I think so, yes. My answer would be yes, I would think so. At Odyssey Artist, hey, Bo, does this team remind you of any teams you were on? Well, I think it reminds me just what we were just talking about, how it's a young football team. You've had one good draft, you have two good drafts, and now you add to that and build that nucleus, especially if you get that one guy. Look, the one thing I would like to see this team draft, and we may have talked about that in the last program, give me that stud linebacker. Yeah. Give me that kid from Michigan.
Alabama.
Or the linebacker from Alabama.
No doubt about it.
Or one of those guys that is just a beast.
Just some guy who's a difference maker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put him in there next to Kiko Alonso. I guarantee you Kiko Alonso's a better linebacker.
No doubt about it.
You do that with him, and no doubt about it. So it does remind me of the team. When I say the teams I was on, the difference with us, Andy, there's no free agency.
No.
Rarely were there any trades. So the guys I played with them for the duration. So it's a little different now just because of the mercenary style of game it is right now. But I think if you get look, New England's a great example. Seattle's a great example. If you draft a good base, then and keep that base with you, you can fill in the other spots that you need.
It always
continue to be successful.
When teams try to press and make their team in free agency, that's when they get into trouble.
Yep, no doubt about it. At John 239, Bo, do you think we will be a dynasty in the next few years? I don't know that there's many dynasties that are going to be around the National Football League anymore. I think a dynasty now, especially with free agency and everything, if you can have 5 or 6 good years.
Make the playoffs every year.
Make the playoffs every year. Maybe get to an AFC championship game. Maybe get to a Super Bowl. I think that's kind of the blueprints that's out there for everybody. Look, Seattle's done that. New England's done that. Dallas has done that. Pittsburgh has done that. So I don't think you're going to see I think the chances of seeing the 49er dynasty, the Pittsburgh Steeler dynasty, I think those days are over. Where you go on a 10-year run where you win 4 Super Bowls in 10 years.
Right.
There's
just too much parity in the league.
Well, the problem is you win a Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP, if he's a free agent, boom, gone.
Right, and you draft 32nd.
Yeah, exactly. And then it does what it's supposed to. It kind of levels the playing field. At Twitter, Gase and his staff are the best teachers of men that we've had since Shula's time. I'm not going to argue with that.
I will not either.
I've become first of all, I'm Adam Gase and Vance Joseph.
I don't think Vance Joseph gets enough credit for what he's done with this defense.
No, I don't think he does. But I'm also on the backs of every one of those assistant coaches and the job they've done. Just because I've seen too many guys on this football team get better during the course of the year. And to me, that's the way you judge assistant coaches in this league.
You also judge them by adjustments during a game.
Yep.
They play the Jets. The Jets go down the field on the first drive of the game. They take a 7-0 lead. The Dolphins adjusted.
Yep.
That was the last touchdown the Jets scored in that game. You know, I've seen pass regimes not adjust. So when you see the adjustments, when you see the improvement, it's clearly a credit to the coach.
And they've also got this football team who, after going 1-4 and an ugly 1-4,
yes, it was,
continue to believe in themselves that they can be a good football team. And look, that's a job of the coaching staff, and they've done a marvelous job of doing that. So I agree with that. At Mandarino, you see what he did there? Mandarino, a little D move, a little M move. Mandarino 13. Do we keep Maxwell next year with his high salary?
Well, I think they have to keep him, don't they?
I don't know what the hit is.
Yeah, I don't know what the hit is.
I don't know what the hit is if he goes. But I think, look, there's some salary cap room in there. I think, the Jordan Cameron, the tight end, you got to figure he's not coming back, and that's a pretty decent number. I would be surprised if Mario Williams comes back.
Me too.
That's a big number. So there are some guys that aren't going to be back in this football team that are going to allow you some cap space.
When you look at Maxwell, he did have a slow start to the season.
But he's played well.
When he's healthy, he's played well.
Yes.
So if they believe they can build off of that, he is a veteran presence that they don't have at cornerback now.
And look, you got Xavier Howard coming back. I mean, playing well, and he should certainly be penciled in as a starter next year. Look, even if worse comes to worse, if Maxwell becomes one of your backup players, he's going to provide you with valuable depth and depth that's played well in this system through the course of this year. So, Maxwell, he's going to be interesting to see what he does. But there are going to be some movement. There's going to be some guys here that think they're going to be here next year that aren't going to be here next year.
They'll be very disappointed.
And they'll be very disappointed. Yeah.
Yep.
Andy, we're done, man.
Wow, that was quick.
In and out. Good questions. We kind of keep going there. Look I got to go with Tubal and 6. Bo needs to drink some of that refreshing Aquafina water. That's why we got Aquafina as a presenting sponsor. I get a little dry. You know, you get that old little
good
congestion
stuff
there. It's the best.
Yep.
That's it for today. We'll be back Friday. I believe Joe Rose will be in the house.
Can't touch
him. We'll be here at 4:30. For Andy Cohen, I'm Kim Bokamper. Remember, AC in the AM, 6 o'clock every day on MiamiDolphins.com. 6 o'clock, right?
6 o'clock.
At MiamiDolphins.com. You can catch him there, and you can catch me on Friday here at the next Audible presented by Aquafina. Have a good couple of days. We'll see you then.